Let's go into the next one. Boys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's Benny versus Core time. Oh boy, playing their favorite civs at the moment, actually. Core has been returning to the game in droves, and of course, he has to be on the Holy Roman Empire, clashing on good old Dry Arabia, up against Team Liquid's Dumu in the blue as the Byzantines. And this really is his civ right now, actually. He's been playing a lot of the Byzantines. Very interesting build that Dumu's mainly been focusing on at the moment is this fast 2C build fast 2 TC build that gets him a second TC by about 5-ish minutes in the game, 5.5 minutes. I'm going to have to see if he goes for it in this game. Has got the level 1 cistern down and has dropped it on the stone and on the wood. Yeah, this is the 2 TC build. So Dumu does this a lot, actually. He's been really good at it. I think he's been the innovator. I don't know if I saw anyone do it before him. The moment that the buff for Byzantines dropped, where they got an extra amount of starting stone, he started doing this build. It's a really cool build as well. The whole idea is that you optimize around the initial trees. You don't actually move for a lumber camp. And the initial trees will give you just enough to get into the second TC in time. So we'll see if that's the one he's going for here. On the other side, Core, let's see how things are going. Step number 1 is going to be the scouting plan. Notice that Core opens with 2 scouts. This is becoming standard HRE meta on practically any map in the game. It's also pretty effective up against the Byzantines because with a spawn like this, I'm not sure if we're going to see a TC forward. The read from Dumu should be to understand that he's up against 2 scouts, as he's probably seen this quite a few times, and if he's ever seen a single Core game, he'll know it's 2 scouts. And then the counterplay for him to make sure he's got enough food would be to drop the second TC on the forward wood. It just might make him suboptimal in terms of timing because his stone spawned at the back. So it might be one of these games where the spawn kind of hurts you a bit here. So you either have to choose limited food or idle time. Here we go. Imperial Hippodrome coming out to open for Dumu. And there is the play under the stone outcropping. So a smart read here by the Muslim. He needs to get the initial horseman out to control the mid-map. I'm sorry, we don't call him Dimu's anymore. He's good old Dimu or good old Benny. The whole idea with this horseman opening is you want to play it out into the map to block these relics. Really strong play as well. The cool thing is because of the Triumph, if you have a few horsemen out and Core goes to that standard fast castle into initial knights play, you can actually contest knights with the horsemen because they hit so hard. They hit for 13 damage, which you put 2 of those together, basically hitting as hard as a knight. Mathematically, that makes sense because you're talking about 2 horsemen that cost the same as a knight. People saying this is a fast castle build. Of course it's a fast castle build. It's Core. When was the last time you saw him not fast castle? The only question is whether he's going to add in a cheeky little stables along the way and get 1 or 2 horsemen. Oh, from Dumu. Yes, from Dumu 100%. Like, that is so obvious. Like, the only detail that matters here is whether it's going to be a TC drop on this wood line or here. Usually he does it on this wood line. And considering he started with the straggler trees on the south side, let me check the wood, because this could be an efficiency marker. 90, 120. Oh, that's cool, actually. Dumu, he's left this straggler tree till last. That's really important because it means that he could efficiently move these woodworkers to this one, as you're seeing he's rallied them. And then he dropped the TC here. That's actually, it seems like a nitpicky detail, but it's a really big difference in terms of build speed that is going to allow him to get it faster. Scout in the meantime is going to snoop out what's happening here. More villagers shifting out because you are going to need more for the stone. The cool thing actually of doing this with this civ, by the way, is like it's not inefficient to now have to have all these stoneworkers up here, because when you get the TC afterwards, this is going to enable you to afford the stone to upgrade your system straight away. So this can still be an efficient read by Dumu. Whereas otherwise for other civs, now being stuck at this stone point feels really bad because of the walking you have to do without wheelbarrow. So cool. In the meantime, tech's up to mirror Dumu. Dumu hasn't gone for a horseman yet. Now, he's got 5 people gathering, so he should have enough for a little My Little Pony fantasy in a second. I just don't know if he wants to go towards it, because it would slow down his other timings, but this timing is pristine. Dumu, he actually shifts back north, so it is going to be that TC on the back side. Now, this does have an interesting ripple effect in terms of food access, because the berries are on the ford, and now they're technically undefended. So I'm wondering if Dumu's intent is like fast castle behind this. But if that's the case, does he actually have enough food? Have to see. TC being built up rather at the 5-minute mark like we talked about though. And Court, he's rushing for it. Even drops are racked though, so was paranoid about the Hippodrome play. Dude, he just got baited. I mean, Core kind of needs this, right? Because this could just be Dumu playing Horseman out into the relics to block him. So this at least guarantees he gets his relics. But realistically, what's happened here is the Hippodrome drop tricks him into building a Rax that he doesn't need in his build yet, which is going to slow down his tech timing. If Core wanted to be optimal, the better way of doing this, right, is that 150 wood isn't needed. Instead, you have 150 extra food or gold, you start your tech up sooner, and then you build the racks after you gather the extra wood to afford it in the build-up. So in terms of efficiency, this is a hit for him. A lot of stone still being gathered, so Dumu is going to be having enough for those additional systems to come out. And he's going to be moving on to the berries now. So other cool detail about this opening from Core, because he went for the racks, it means he doesn't actually have fast units to punish this, which means that by the time Core's ready to do something about the berries, Dumu should be able to get through all these. I do believe that this choice to go for the back TC in this game was Civ-specific matchup. I wonder if Dumu would have done the same thing in a game against French, for example. I imagine a game against French, English, these type of Civs, it's more likely we would have seen a forward TC to protect him. And what a wild twist. And what a terrible timing! Oh no. Now, this is an all-in play for Core. The problem with it is it just got scouted before it's complete, which means that Dumu realistically could have time to get the reaction ready, and it looks like it's going to be double rack, so he's just going to look to body block and hold underneath the TCs. And this is the interesting detail actually about Core here. That racks, people asking why the racks, the first racks, it's almost like he was trying to bait Dumu, because typically if you build a racks, you're less likely to build a Burgrave, right? The argument for HRE is usually if you have at least 2 Raxes, you're definitely not building Burgrave. If you've built 1 already, even less likely you're doing it, right? This just seemed like a spearman play. So I think Core was trying to like double dip rather the that's a different thing. Double dip the bait and make Dumu think that, oh, it's just going to be a little bit of Rax play and then Regnants. And then trick him with the Burgrave. But instead, unfortunately for Core, Dumu walked by with a scout at the perfect time to see this coming. Now, the question is he going to have the control? Is he going to have the solution? Because right now, Dumu only has access to Limitane, but he is moving into Outpost. Now, if he gets a Blacksmith behind this and just upgrades Outposts, he can actually hold. It's probably the best defense option he has in this game. And there you go. Outposts being queued up. And also getting into the arrow slits. I actually love this defense from Dumu. The only thing missing right now is the blacksmiths, but I think we are going to see that added in the next 30 to 40 seconds. In the meantime, though, Core is looking for that flood. No marching drills. It's now coming in. In the meantime, he's still able to pick up these relics. However, he has nothing to drop them in yet. And also, because he doesn't have any sort of religious building, he sacrificed a villager of production to get this prelate. Now, the reason why Core is making this play and can make this play is because of that double scout opening. That double scout opening yielded him a lot of sheep. Make no mistake about it, folks. There's only 4 remaining, but that's because he's had so many villagers on an Archon Chapel buff, exhausting them. He's going to have to move out to Deer soon, though. He's almost done with them. And there you go. Already primes the mill for it. Men-at-Arms count now up to 12. Villagers gathering the little that's left on the front side of the berries. We'll look to shift away here. And look at the outpost defense. Fortifications as well. A great read here. He's going to shift away with the villagers. Now, notice he didn't go into Horseman at all, even though that would have given him the use of Triumph to try and tank longer. It's the Limitane, just more cost-efficient tankers in this type of game. The villagers are going to garrison. Look at the arrow fire Core. It's so effective because the level 2 ranged armor is still a minute away for Core. Dumu still didn't get the Steel Arrow upgrade, though, and that's a problem here. Dumu now rushing out of his base for the berries, but... Core! Oh, no. This could actually just be game. This genuinely could just be game here. Dumu blocked by just 2 men-at-arms. And he panic realizes he turns away, but now now you don't have anything, right? You've got no food. It's going to have to be Olive Grove transition, isn't it? He's got a lot of static point defenses, but I think the big issue here is still no blacksmith either, right? Like, he's going to try to get into the mercs. He's got 741 olive oils. That's one load of mercenaries. And there's the blacksmith we were waiting for. So he understands now he's not getting out of the base. Best priority he can get is stronger defenses. And with a level 2 ranged armor about to complete, if you thought Core was tanky when he was diving, it's not going to change. For the next minute, he's going to remain even more tanky. In fact, instead, it looks like Dumu's taking a different approach, a very interesting approach, actually. He goes for the Bloomery. This is a pretty cool idea. Right now, Core hasn't got any melee tech upgrades, which means that, actually, the more effective way of blunting him than using static defenses might just be Mass Limitane. Another cool idea that Dumu might have in mind here is the Akratoi. That's going to increase the melee damage of his villagers. You add that in with the Blacksmith Bloomery, all of a sudden you might be able to Peasant Rebel to try and hold this. But right now, this is still looking like a hard fight. No Presidium coming out. It is going to be Conscriptio because he's trying to get into the first wave of Javelins. However, that does mean you're going to lose the Assistant quicker. Men-at-Arms are going to be able to torch this down. Villagers in the meantime shifting away. Dumu, he's sneaking out for the Eastern Berries. This is a smart read. If he can get the berries and deer, he might have a way. And people wondering why Javelins? Javelins because you need high base damage units. However, your opponent has got the extra ranged armor here, which does kind of reduce the effectivity. But the alternatives of Lombos, not effective. The alternative of going into Keshiks, also just not effective. You're building heavy cav against a Civ that has heavy maces. It just doesn't work. This is the one option he has. Burn down. Has begun, though. Even with these outposts being fortified, the amount of torches on these men-at-arms, they're getting through it. There has been a sneak out, though, and I'm a little bit surprised that Core hasn't checked that flank yet, right? He's scouted the entire map, so he knows where the food is, and if you're seeing more Limitane come out, you should know that there's more food elsewhere. Looks like the men-at-arms are going to keep chasing away the Javs. Javs. The other reason you go Javs over Lombos here, by the way, base damage high, but also movement speed better. So they're able to try and run away from these men-at-arms. But still, annoying game for Dumu. Couldn't hang around with the Javs. Does at least peel off these men-at-arms. Like, pulling away this many is still good for you. It slows down this surge point. But right now, this game is still looking dicey for Dumu. Only 6 eco ahead. Because he's running out of food. Olive groves are being built up. More outposts as well. Men-at-arms are now going to dive towards that, though. Nice pull away there. I love the bait. Dumu just distracting and dragging most of the MAA away. But great read by Core to split off 2 and deny the build-up of the outpost temporarily. Core, get in there, boys. Come on. It's a party. Everyone's invited. It's a rush up. Dumu bringing out more villagers, just trying to get this up as quickly as possible. The men-at-arms, if the extras have been here, it'd be extra villagers dead. Instead, it should just be 2 falling there. But so far, 9 workers killed. They are now neck and neck despite this double TC opening of Dumu. And Dumu living life on the edge. If this food ever gets discovered, he's out of options. And by the way, I want to give so much credit to Dumu for still playing this game. A lot of players would have seen what happened on that left berries when the 2 men-at-arms were there and would have just called GG. But not Dumu. Dumu is trying to wiggle his way out. He understands that you can't win every game by default. You have to look for those miracle comebacks, because those miracle comebacks will be the difference maker in the highest level of competitive play. And also on top of that, up against a play like this, Burgrave does have a runway. It does dry up. Look at what's happening on the deer here, folks. It's 1 deer site left, and then it's Puma on the opposite side. Core is going to need a farm transition soon. So his men-at-arms number tends to swell up to around 30, and then run out of steam. He's trying to survive it. He's trying to outlive it. These men-at-arms, though, just so many of them. There's still 4, by the way. This seems to be in a missed detail for Core. These guys aren't rallied in on the others, so a little bit surprising. I don't know if Core is one of those select or idle military boys. Some people don't use that. Some people do. I know Lucifron, for example, always has the select or idle military as a prio use there, so he always knows where he's missing troops. But he's not missing this detail anymore. The food's been found. Dumu on the deer. Oh, dear. 30 villagers now idled up. That is 2/3 of his economy, and look at what's coming. More men-at-arms. The second wave, he notices it now. Core chasing after him, and he can cut him off on the north side as well. This This might be the end of the road. Dumu without access to gold, woods, and now without food. Truly hamstrung. MAA still just chasing after different villages though. Dumu trying to survive this. Limitane are getting some good exchanges over here. Remember, the melee tech upgrade came through. Core went for melee aggression instead of defense though. The villagers just look at them. 2/3 with nowhere to go, man. Has he got the Akratoy activated? I think it's on cooldown still, yeah. 40 seconds until it's available. This is still 25 men at arms, right? And that is going to be it, folks. A good effort. I actually want to praise Dumu for trying to find a way out of this hole. He really did exploit every single option available before waving that white flag. But big props to Core, man. He always says we never catch his wins, but this was a sick read. This was the right way. Against double TC at 5 minutes, Regnitz would have just killed his game. It would have been too slow. Dumu would have got a chance to fight, but double TC opening like this against men-at-arms Burgray spam. What a read, and all of that enabled because Core had the foresight and the smart to go for that double scout opening, something he does whether it's Regnitz or Burgrave. And what that means is because he'll do either of these, there wasn't this implied build. Meanwhile, Dumu has notably been doing this double TC build against a lot of players right now. A great read by Core to remember that and then find the perfect counter. And yes, Core, we did spot a win. Be sure to go follow Core if you haven't already for when he does go live occasionally. Now that he's starting to win against the top players like that, now that we're showing off how damn good he is, I imagine he'll probably have his channel up in about 5 minutes.